Welcome to Lesson 60 of Numbers and Operations. Find a percentage, Part 2. So here's our objective and our first example. So let's get right into this. How do you read a word problem or a statement? Well, let's go over some key things. The word of means multiply. The word is means equal. Fill your numbers in. And then what do we have? What percent? So I don't know, what question mark percent? What percent? X, anything. You put anything in there. What percent times 20 equals 0.5? Well, we all know that the opposite of multiplication is division. So what we're going to have to do is divide. Divide by 20. And this is not 0.20. This of means multiply, and I'm not using the X for multiply because hopefully some of you on a high school level and the X will disappear. So we got to divide everything by 20 to get the multiplication away from the percentage. And we'll solve this on the next page. So what percent times 20 equals 0.5 dividing by 20 on both sides? That cancels out. Anything divided by itself is the same number. 5 divided by 20, so what percent? And so 20 goes into 0.5. Well, you're saying, Mr. Walls, you did not move the decimal. This 20 on the outside is a whole number. We did not have to move the decimal point on the outside, so inside the house stays the same. 20 goes into 5 0 times. It goes into 50 twice. 2 times 20 is 40. 10 right here. Bring down a 0. And 5 times. So it's 100. Okay. So now we get a number. 0.025 is our answer. But is this a percentage? No, it is not. In order to move a decimal from a percent, you have to multiply by 100. And when we multiply by 100, it's 2 zeros in 100. That means we move the decimal place 2 places to the right. So what percent? 2.5% of 20 times 20 equals 0.5. And you can always check this by multiplying 2.5% times 20 and see what you come up with. Okay, let's look at our next example. It's a lot of reading. All right, so how do we get the words out? 500 questionnaires were sent out. 350 were answered. So this is your part. This is your whole. So basically we're dealing with a percentage of 350 over 500. The part to the whole. And let's do the math. Okay. So 350 divided by 500. Drop the 350 down. 500 goes into 350 0 times. You need a decimal. Make it a 0. 5 goes in this 35 7 times. 0 0, 35. Nothing left over. 0.7 is not a decimal yet. Multiply by 100. Move it twice. You get 70% of the questionnaires were returned. Okay, so those were our 2 examples for today. So check me at the end of the video for the recap. Okay, 30 is what percent of 8? So rewriting with the words we know. 30 is means equals what percent, question mark, of means multiply 8. So what are we going to do? We're going to have to divide by 8 on both sides. So 30 divided by 8 equals what percent? Okay, so 8 goes into 30. 3 times is 24. You get 60. 7 times 8 is 56. 4, and then 5. Okay, so now we have our answers, 3.75, but this is not a percent. In order to change a decimal into a percent, you have to multiply by 100, which means moving the decimal point twice to the right. So you get 375% of 8 is 30. And whenever a number is bigger than 100%, it just means it grows. You can have percentages bigger than 100 and less than 1. So our second one. 24 hours, 45-degree angle forms a section of the circle. Represent the cats. Well, what time? Okay. So now this gets off into a little geometry, a little circular math, and everything. So you have to know that a full circle is 360 degrees. And then if this is 0, 45 is roughly like this. And you really don't need to do this. What you really need to know is 45 of 360. And then we're going to have to go 450. 360 goes into 45 0 times. Put a 0 there. Once. 360. Subtracting. You get 0. 45 minus 36 is 9. You need a 0. 360 times 3 300s is 900, so that won't work. So we need 2 360s, which is 720, which will give us 18, 0. 6 360s is, 6 300s is 18. 6 times 3 is 18, but that won't work. 7 3s, 5 3s is 15. 5 might work. Let's try 5. Let's see what we come up with. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 3 is 18. All right, we get a 0. All right, so now we have 0.125%. And we multiply by 100. We get 12.5% of the time. So in a 24-hour period, a cat spends 12.5% of the day eating. Okay. We could have asked you how much time that was, but that would be another question for another day. I think that's a good question. If you want to do some extra work, figure out how much time that is. What you're going to have to do is probably convert 24 hours into minutes, and then you can answer the question in minutes. Because I best believe if you answer that in hours, it's going to be some odd kind of number. It'll be like 1 and some fraction. But that's this lesson. Hopefully this was one of the earliest lessons that dealt with applications. So we're going to get into more of those now that we're in percentages. And thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification bells, and I will see you on the next video.